All right, today we're going to peel back the layers of Taylor Sheridan's incredible series 1923. And believe me, we're going way beyond the shootouts and the stunning landscapes. We're going to uncover the hidden psychological and symbolic world that really makes this show tick. So, is this just another Western? I mean, on the surface, it's got all the classic stuff, right? You've got your rugged cowboys, those huge open landscapes, and that constant fight for survival. But what we're gonna do is dig a little deeper and see what's really going on beneath the spurs and Stetsons. Because really, 1923 is so much more. It's this incredibly deep psychological drama. I mean, it feels like every single scene, every quiet little moment is designed to explore the inner worlds of these characters and, by extension, the fractures running through an entire nation. All right, let's get into it. The inner wilderness of the characters. We're going to explore the psychological wounds that really shape their destinies. And a good place to start is by looking at the people right at the heart of this story. Because these aren't just simple archetypes, you know? They are deeply complex people, and every one of them is driven by some kind of profound wound. Let's start with Jacob Dutton. Now, it's easy to see him as just that stoic, tough-as-nails patriarch. But what's really going on is something psychologists call defensive detachment. He's just suppressing all his grief, all that emotion to stay in control. Because deep down, he's terrified of it all falling apart. He buries everything until that one heartbreaking moment he confesses to Kara, a man can only bury so much before the ground gives way. Okay, and then you've got Spencer, the returning warrior. He's this haunted hero from the Great War. And his whole life hunting big game in Africa, well, it's way, way more than just a sport or a job. It's a truly desperate attempt to outrun what's going on inside his own head. Yeah, it is a textbook case of what's called projected aggression. He's taking all the horror, all the trauma and violence from the war, and he's pointing it outwards. He's killing these massive animals so he doesn't have to face the real monster, the war that is still haunting him every single day. And this whole idea is perfectly summed up by his shipwreck. I mean, that's not just something that happens to him. No way. It's a symbolic journey, a literal and psychological dive into the depths of his own mind. It's a descent into his unconscious that finally forces him to face everything he's been running from his whole life. And then there's Tiana Rainwater, her story. I mean, it is just this harrowing, incredibly realistic portrayal of complex PTSD. It's trauma that was forged in the absolute horror of that Catholic boarding school, a place that wasn't just about education, it was designed to literally erase her identity. Which is why her escape is so much more than just an escape. It's a ritual of rebirth. You know, when she finally gets out and burns that uniform, it's not just her being defiant. It's this powerful, symbolic moment of rebirth. It's her psychological emancipation, the first step in reclaiming who she really is. Okay, so now that we've looked at the characters, let's talk about the show's secret visual language. We're going to look at how objects and colors tell their own story. Because all of this psychology we've been talking about, it's woven into the very fabric of this series, where seemingly everyday objects are just loaded with meaning. I mean, think about it. These everyday things, they tell a story all on their own. That ranch gate, it's not just a gate. It's a threshold between civilization and wilderness, between life and death. The train, that represents an unstoppable fate, a force that's severing old traditions. And of course, the rifle, passed down from one Dutton to the next, it's a symbol of inherited violence, a toxic legacy. And it's not just objects. The show uses color to paint this whole emotional landscape. So red isn't just the color red. It's the blood, the passion, the defiance you see in Kara's shawl. And then you have those bleak, desaturated graves of the winter blizzard. They're not just showing you it's cold. They're reflecting the moral ambiguity, that emotional flatness of just trying to survive. So, where is all this going? Let's talk about the story beneath the story, unpacking the grand metaphors of a nation. Because all these things, the symbols, the characters' wounds, they all serve a much bigger purpose. They're the building blocks for a grand allegory about America itself. And you see this so powerfully in the mission of Tiana's boarding school. The stated goal was to save the man, but the actual function, the official policy, was kill the Indian. And this isn't just a historical fact they threw in. In the context of the show, it's a chilling metaphor for cultural genocide being used as a weapon, as psychological warfare. This deep, profound sense of loss, the real price of everything they fought for, it's captured perfectly in that surreal fever dream Carrot has. Elsa's ghost shows up, and she delivers this absolutely devastating line. You kept the land, but lost the children. Elsa isn't there as a comfort. She's a projection of Kara's own guilt, and she's passing judgment on the entire Dutton legacy. And you could argue that the single most important metaphor in the whole series is just the fence. We see Jacob constantly fixing it, trying to keep enemies out. But it's so much more than that, right? It represents all those invisible borders, race, class, gender, that define America. It's about a nation that's fundamentally built on who it decides to keep in and who it keeps out. Okay, let's wrap this up. We're calling this section a mirror, not a window, and it's all about why 1923 reflects so much more than just the past. So when you put all these pieces together, the wounded characters, the hidden symbols, these huge national metaphors, what does it all add up to? What is this show really trying to say? Well, it becomes pretty clear that 1923 isn't just a historical drama. It's not supposed to be a window that we just passively look through to see what the 1920s were like. Nope, it's doing something way more active, way more confrontational. Instead, it's a mirror. It's holding up the past to dissect these timeless and, let's be honest, deeply current themes. Things like intergenerational trauma, the cost of survival, and the powerful myths that we still live by today. It's holding a mirror up and reflecting our own modern struggles right back at us. And all of this leaves us with the one haunting question the series asks over and over again. What does it mean to survive when survival demands you become the very monster you're fighting? The show offers absolutely no easy answers, just the profound, heavy weight of a legacy that no one, not the Duttons, and maybe not us, can ever truly outrun.